For those select few that are already initiated, you should already know what this is. And for those of you that aren't, just chill. See, we're going to get to the other stuff in a minute, but what I'm always trying to get everybody to understand is everything is vibration. So with that in mind, it really ain't nothing else left to do. But vibe. And as you do so, I guarantee you're going to come into the realization that you're ready to open up your ear and let me crawl into your mind. One time. Yeah. You done fucked around and clicked on some trill shit this time. And you ain't got to say nothing. You better not do nothing. Just vibe. I know you may think you're hearing me right now, but it ain't that. You damn sure can't see me. Oh no. You gotta feel me, baby. And I am that Jones in your bones. I am that primordial part of yourself that just wants to get to know you a little bit better. Are you ready? That can sometimes make one uncomfortable, but that's alright. This right here, this is a deep introduction to the intricacies of you. And who better than me? Hear that? Nah, can you feel that? It's cold, ain't it? See, that's my essence. See, me, myself, I'm like an ice cube in an ice tray in an igloo in Alaska. But I still break things down so masterfully by looking so dastardly. Although I want to lead, it don't matter if you want to follow. Because the truth of the matter is, you always gonna come after me. Not you, them. Because I love you. And love means putting those that you love before thyself. Oh. Me and my ego. You done fucked around and tuned into something you can taste. Just smile. Because at the end of the day, I just want to be the smile on your face. But I do know I can be the monkey on your back. It's however you want to play it. What it was, y'all. Y'all already know who it is. And y'all tuned in with Priceless Knowledge Yourself. And this right here, this ain't nothing but some cosmic insight. And hey, man, we finally here. We're kind of reaching the introduction into our aspect series right here. And before we can get down into the intricacies of each one of our planetary aspects that we have going on, we're first going to need to understand the basics of the energy that come along with each one of the major aspects that are come along in our natal chart. All right. And when I say major aspects, understand that that's of the utmost significance, because for this series right here, which might last a couple months, it might last 6 months, it might last a year, who knows? Because we're going to go all the way in. We're mainly going to be focusing on the major aspects, which consist of conjunctions, oppositions, trines, squares, sextiles, and quincunxes or inconjunctions, which is what quincunxes are also referred to. All right. So when it comes to the patterns in our chart, which is what the YODs and kites and grand trines and crosses are, we're going to discuss those later. When it comes to the growth aspects and the minor aspects and the little subtleties like sesquadrats, semi-squares, semi-sextiles, quintiles, biquintiles, we're going to discuss those later. Because first we need to understand the basics. It's kind of like what I'm always trying to tell people. Man, before you can master ascending, you first need to work on grounding. And a lot of people have no concept of that whatsoever. So for us right here, we're going to work with the basics first. All right. So with that in mind, this right here, this will learn something about the significance and meaning of the oppositions and conjunctions we have going on in our natal chart. And I know I have a whole little soliloquy that I go into most of the time. Not today. We're going to go right into it. All right. So when it comes to the conjunctions, the first and main thing to understand about this one is that a conjunction occurs when two astronomical bodies or astrological points are in the same immediate area of the zodiac. Now, I also want you to understand that the proximity that signifies the conjunction kind of depends on the independent interpretation or preference of the astrologer. Because you're going to have some astrologers that might say that a conjunction can't be more than 1 degree away. And then you're going to have some that might say that a conjunction could still occur as much as 5 to 8 degrees away. And me, myself, I kind of fall in the middle. All right. Because for me, I say a conjunction has to be like 4 degrees or less for it to be significant. All right. And that's just my opinion. All right. And so it's really just up to you. And it's really more of a fairly subjective preference with this right here. All right. And either way it goes, man, I also want you to understand that when you're dealing with me, I base my conjunction solely off proximity. So it's definitely possible for a conjunction to occur in 2 different houses or 2 different signs if you're looking at the cusp of houses, or if there's any placements that you have between 27 and 2 degrees of neighboring signs. For instance, you could have your moon at 28 degrees of Pisces in the 12th house and be a 1 degree Aries rising and still have moon conjunct to the ascendant. Or you could have Mercury at 0 degrees of Leo in the 10th house like myself and have Venus at 12 degrees of Leo in the 10th house and that not be a conjunction at all because they're just too far apart. Even though they're in the same sign, in the same house, they're not conjunct to each other. They're 2 separate things right there. All right. And so they would have to be studied separately, even though they're in the same house, in the same sign there. They're kind of too far apart to be considered a conjunction. All right. Even though those are 2 energies that help with my 10th house in both different ways. All right. So I always like to relate things back to me. So hopefully that helps out right there. All right. And, you're just going to have to pay attention to the degrees, to the degrees with this one. All right. Because a person could definitely have Mars at 29 or 28 degrees of Libra and Pluto at 2 degrees of Scorpio in the 1st house in the Placidus system. And they definitely have Mars conjunct Pluto. And it definitely plays a significant role in how their energy works in their life. Okay. Now, also, please understand that a conjunction could be both a good and a bad thing, depending on several other factors. But either way it goes, this is going to exhibit a central linking of certain basic energies in an individual's chart. And when one area of life or expression of energy represented by one astronomical body expresses itself, then it brings along the other astronomical body represented by the other energy right there. All right. So to put it more simply, those energies need to be studied together because they're definitely connected in your life somehow, man. Now that right there also brings me to the subject of a stellium, which a conjunction can definitely be a part of a stellium by definition, but they're also going to be largely 2 different things, okay? Because a stellium occurs when 3 or more planets or luminaries fall in the same house or sign, or kind of both of them, all right? And, you know, this is another one that's kind of controversial because here you're going to have some astrologers say that only inner planets can be a part of a stellium. Then you're going to have some that say that a stellium can include everything in the kitchen sink, man. And once again, man, I'm right in the middle because in my opinion, personally, I kind of feel like a stellium can include any real astronomical body or luminary. Which means the sun, the moon, any of the outer planets or inner planets can be a part of a stellium. But the North Node, the Black Moon Lilith, those cannot be a part of a stellium because those aren't true astronomical bodies. Those are just mathematical points in your natal chart. Okay? Just understand that, man. But either way it goes, when you're looking at a conjunction, man, this is a focus of several energies in one place in the chart, man. And it's something worth paying attention to. It's kind of considered a harmonious aspect because those energies are there. They're being forced to work together, but sometimes there can be too much of some energy in a place, which can cause a conflict. Or if it's two energies that don't necessarily work well with each other, it can cause some confusion. All right. But either way it goes, conjunctions are typically going to be a more positive thing. Now, the equal to it, or the conjunction's adversary, will be the opposition. And the oppositional aspect in astrology, it's just what it sounds like, man. This occurs when two astronomical bodies or astrological points fall directly opposite or somewhere in the close proximity to 180 degrees away from each other in the natal chart. For instance, my sun is placed at 4 degrees of Cancer in my 9th house. And Neptune is placed at 4 degrees of Capricorn in my 3rd house. And that's definitely an opposition. And that's definitely a theme that's played out in my life. But also understand that it doesn't have to be exact like that. Because if your midheaven is at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, then you could definitely have your Mercury opposite to it at 7 degrees of Gemini in your 3rd house. Okay? Understand that, okay? But generally, you know, an opposition is going to be representative of an axis and a polarity. For instance, if your ascendant is being looked at, then it's always going to be opposite to your descendant. And your midheaven is always going to be opposite to your natal or your IC. Okay. And the 6th is going to be opposite to the 12th and so on and so forth. And, you know, just like Aries is going to be opposite to Libra and Aquarius is going to be opposite to Leo and all of that. And what an opposition represents is, in aspect, is really a fundamental conflict between duality and polarity. Because more than anything else with an opposition, what you're really seeing is two sides of the same coin that, you know, really just need to recognize their similarities in order to reconcile their differences. Okay? Let me slow that down. They need to recognize their similarities in order to reconcile their differences. Okay? And understand this is no doubt very polarizing energy right here. And, you know, this is going to represent opposing parts of our nature and pieces of our personality that are going to need to come together to move us toward a more powerful whole. Okay? You know, this is about finding an appropriate balance between two opposite ends of a spectrum that really exists within our personality. All right. This is really about the power that's derived from the delicate dance of conflict and compromise. And while this is kind of usually one of the most inharmonious aspects in a lot of people's mind, it definitely doesn't have to be anything negative or detrimental if you could just face the conflict of interest that the opposition represents in our chart. Okay? And you're just going to need to get down the push and pull of it all with this. Okay? But I also personally think that the trick with oppositions is just to remember that the conflict is only a conflict when you view it as such. So when you can get past the bullshit and view the duality of this aspect as, you know, just two opposing parts of our nature that can be empowered together, then you're going to be able to turn one of the harshest aspects there are into really one of the most beautiful blessings that there can be. You understand? But it's up to you. All right. Now, when I see somebody that has two or more, I see somebody that has a lot of oppositions in their chart, I see somebody who kind of, they know how to both be grounded and they know how to get things done. You know what I'm saying? And be innovative. Okay? These are people right here that really, if they can pull this thing together right here with the oppositions right here and just learn that, hey man, it's a yin and a yang. It's about balance. It's not about conflict. It's about balance with this. You got to end up in the middle of that seesaw. If you have somebody that can get to that, you can usually have a very well-rounded individual if somebody has a lot of oppositions in their chart. Or you can have somebody who might be very bipolar, who, you don't know if they're going this way or that way. All right? Now, when you're looking at somebody that has a lot of conjunctions in their chart, what you're looking at is somebody who really knows how to get all their energy focused in one direction in life and get it rolling. And they know how to build up momentum. All right? And that doesn't mean that their life isn't going to be easy. That doesn't mean that their life is going to be easy. It means that, it just means that they're able to get things rolling in a way that's really advantageous for them because they understand the dynamics of momentum, whether it's consciously or unconsciously. Because they are able to get several energies in life rolling in the same direction with that conjunction. All right? And, hey, I want to thank y'all. Just remember that you are not your chart. And whether you have a whole bunch of conjunctions or whether you have a whole bunch of oppositions, whether you don't have any whatsoever, it don't matter. Because the truth of the matter is, just because you built like that, you don't have to build like that. And what I mean by that is we all have all this energy available to us. What you do with it is what you do with it. And even beyond that, it's not about what you do. It's about how you do it. And that's some priceless knowledge in itself. And this been some priceless knowledge of self. Hey, if y'all fuck with me on any level, this is the time that you should hit that like button if you haven't already, which you already should have. And it's cool to hit the dislike button too, but then I'll know you a hater. And that's all right because the world needs those. It lets me know that I'm on and cracking. You feel me? Just give me some type of interaction because this ain't for my ego. This is for the algorithm. And I'm just trying to expand my platform and get out to more people. All right? And if y'all are interested in any astrological readings whatsoever, you can either hit me up in the comments below or you can email me at mr.turner1300@gmail.com, which is actually my preference because if you hit me up in the comments, I'm just going to direct you to my email. Okay? And that's just what it is. And if you're looking for any merch, you can do the same thing. Hit me up in my email because I got the hats, I got the hoodies, and I want to sell them to you. But you also have to understand that you can buy all the merchandise you want. And I want to sell it to you because I need the money. But the truth of the matter is, this type of swag that I got, it's got to be in you and not on you. Let me put it in.